Hi guys, Harchard here. Just logging in with my Crusader, which I'm building on Lightning. I just thought about sharing my build with you. Okay, so I'll begin with the items, then with the Kanai powers, moving to Paragon Points and skills. Okay, so let's start with it. That's my character. I'm using the full set of the Seeker of the Light, giving me a 750% increased damage on every hammer. Also, every hammer is going to reduce, as you pretty much know, the provoke and falling sword. The falling sword on the 4-piece is going to activate 50% less damage intake total. So that's the Seeker of the Light. We're using the full set. Okay, weapons that I'm using here currently, Gift of Silaria. Right, so this sword is nothing special. Absolutely nothing special, just something that I came by. It's an ancient. It rolled with a good attack speed increase, life per hit, which I found to be a very important stat for the performance of the build. An item that you can switch out for the Gift of Silaria would be the Fulminator. So the Fulminator is way much more lightning oriented. It gives like 500% this one, that is 500% damage on an enemy that has been turned into a lightning rod. Of course, if the build is not lightning, like, because I believe that the build can work with other elements as well. So if you're not aiming for the lightning, you can use anything else that you may find to be fitting. Lidless Wall, right? So this is not a shield that many use. It's a pretty forgotten shield. I am just placing it in because it gives a very good lightning modifier. It gives attack speed, something that most shields don't do, and I believe actually that this is the only shield in the game that gives attack speed, and the crit hit chance that I have rolled out. On the set, so whenever we're talking about boots, helmets, on those slots we're going to look out to have increased blast hammer damage. In general, it's good to have it on the shield as well. It's just that currently I can't roll that one. I prefer the 10%, of course. Crit hit damage, just way too much to pass. Right, but anywhere else, or if you're using another shield, you can place in the blast hammer damage. Okay, bracers and belt. The belt I'm using is the Witching Hour, 7% attack speed, almost 50% crit hit damage. Just a belt that gives attack speed would almost any would do. This would be the best in slot. However, I believe 50% crit hit damage, too good to pass. Steady strikers. So Lacuni Prowlers would totally outplay these bracers in any circumstances. What else can be used is Ancient Paladin Defenders, or you can go for you can go for Strong Arm Bracers. Right, the Strong Arm gives 30% on a knockback, knock away. So we are going to use such a skill. So Strong Arm is definitely going to fit well here as well. Currently just Steady Strikers because attack speed of 7%. Rings and Amulet. The Rings and Amulet I'm using, so Focus and Restraint, 100% damage increase, 50% from the first ring, 50% on the second ring, too good to pass. This focus goes with attack speed. I would like to have a restraint that doesn't give a raw output of damage, but actually gives attack speed as well, crit hit damage, anything but that, but haven't found one yet. Alright, so I am using the Traveler's Pledge. First chance I get my hands on a Hellfire Amulet that has rolled decently, I will definitely dump this one and go with a Hellfire. The passive of the Hellfire should be indestructible, preferably. If you have a Vigilant one, it can also do, but the indestructible is just the best one we can have. The Hellfire should pretty much have the stats we are having here. In general, lightning skills or just the elemental skill that you're using being amplified, critical hit damage in there, and maybe if you can roll the strength into increased attack speed. If not, still good. Okay, legendary gems I'm using. So the Traveler's Pledge, we're going to have here the Pain and Cancer. And Pain and Cancer is not very well leveled, as you see. I'm just rotating gems, just trying which one would fit better. Currently the Pain and Cancer fits pretty well, gives a good damage over time affix of 2580% on rank 46, and mainly being used because of the blood frenzy. After level 25, each target that is being affected by pain and cancer is going to increase our attack speed by 3%, which is overall going to add up and just significantly boost up the potential of the damage that we can dish out. Right. So one last thing about pain and cancer, it just gives physical damage. So this physical damage, more or less, is going to be boosted by the convention of the elements that we have connived, which I'll explain a bit later. Okay. In general, we're going to use lightning, however, and that brings us to this next gem, Wrath of Lightning. Now, I am not fully convinced that the Wrath of Lightning is a good pick. I am still using it, still looking how it fits. Problem I have with the Wrath of Lightning is that it's for medium range. Most of the time I am attacking my targets on very far away range, so what we're having here, these 1030% weapon damage as lightning, are very good. They're definitely adding up, but mostly to just NPCs, creeps, mobs that just get close to us. Right, 25% movement speed, not a big buff as well. The one thing about the Wrath of Lightning that that works well is that because of the increased attack speed, it procs very often. So most of the time you would have that up. How much damage it would deal, I'm still trying to put my finger on it, but I believe that it's not that much. It's not that much useful. I'll keep you updated on how it goes though, with using the Wrath of Lightning as a choice for a meta game. Alright, so Bane of the Trapped, very standard choice. It just multiplies the damage and by 27%. Again, this game is not very well followed up on, just rank 42, not very well followed up on. And the thing with the Bane of the Trapped is that I had to find a way just to activate the slow. It gives a 15-yard radius of a slow, but because again we are using a very long range, this is not going to work very well for us. So we have this one skill to activate the slow for us. Alright, so we have covered here pretty much the items that are currently in use. What else can be used is you can dump focus and restraint, which I actually don't recommend. I just prefer to have this at 100% increased damage, but you can dump them and use the Stone of Jordan as an option. The Arc Stone, this is something I haven't tested and it's quite risky, but it may work well. This 1500% approximately lightning damage that arcs looks pretty good. What else can be used instead of the Witching Hour? We can go for Thunder God's Vigor. Thunder God's Vigor. So the Vigor will give us 130% weapon damage procs as lightning on pretty much every attack that goes against us is going to spawn lightning, which is very useful. It's going to increase the total capacity of the lightning damage that is going to go out there. So it's a good choice in general. However, I believe that the Witching Hour is just outplaying the Thunder God. Not by far, but sufficient margin. Strong Arm Bracers. So one of the skills that we're going to use to proc Focus and Restraint and to proc Bane of the Trapped with is going to knock away enemies. So definitely you can try and follow with the Strong Arm Bracers and add these 30% additional damage. Currently these are unholy and they only give 20, but on a better roll you can definitely, for example, try to go for a Strong Arm Bracers. Okay, let's cover quickly the Paragon Points here. So the Paragon Point is a pretty standard setup. I'm using Strength, I don't use movement speed, so I maxed movement speed, anything else dumped in Strength. Offense, attack speed is a priority, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, cooldown reduction is the last that we're going to aim to level up. Defense, life, armor, resist all, life regeneration, utility, area damage, resource cost, life on hit, and the last one would be gold find. Right, so let's go for the skills. The skills pretty much are going to be Justice with Hammer of Persid. Alright, so the Justice is having its own, it's following up on your enemies, it's having its own way of spawning the Blessed Hammer, and it deals, the Hammer of Persid deals physical damage. So this is just a small addition to the rollout of the convention of the elements into physical. Then this is our generating skill procs the first part of the focus and restraint. The Fist of the Heavens here is going to proc the second part of the focus and restraint set. So I'm using a reverberation as a rune here. What it does, it basically, the landing zone is going to knock away your enemies, and it's going to slow them by 80%. So I believe these 80% are a very good slow. For 4 seconds you'll be able to use this skill very often, and it adds a very sufficient crowd control to it. So the slow percent activates the Bane of the Trapped, and if you're using strong arm bracers, you're going to have this additional 30% damage from knocking targets away. Right, then we provoke charged up. Okay, so very standard here. We're having the provoke reduced by the set. So each hammer that damages an enemy is going to reduce the cooldown on provoke. Needless to say, this is going to be almost active all the time. I'm using charged up since for 4 seconds we are going to deal additional 50% damage as lightning. So all of our attacks are going to have additional 50% lightning. In addition, the skill by itself, it just restores a very high portion of wrath, allowing you to move and cast more Fists of the Heavens. Right, Laws of Valor. Laws of Valor on critical rune. Basically, activating that is going to give a 100% increased critical hit damage for 5 seconds. So whenever we come across pretty much a champion pack, an elite pack, we're going to simultaneously use these to optimize our damage to a good potential, and we're going to start wrecking some serious damage. Falling Sword. So I'm not very used about using the Falling Sword. Using the Rapid Descent. There is an additional rune that actually stuns the enemies. Let me see which one. It was Part of the Clouds. So Part of the Clouds is going to give you a 2-second stun to all enemies that get into the landing zone. So if you're using Ancient Parathon Defenders, probably this would be the rune that you're going to aim to use. In my case, I use Rapid Descent because my toughness is low. I like this skill to reduce by cooldown, so I can keep it up more often. Blessed Hammer Thunderstruck. So the whole thing has one drawback, and it's the huge drawback would be that we're using one of our skill slots as a modifier. And what I mean by that is that I have placed this skill only because I'm spawning Justice. I'm throwing the Hammer of Persid, and I want the hammers that spawn out to be lightning, and for that to happen I need to have the Blessed Hammer here. Good part is that every hammer that way that we toss out is going to arc for 60% weapon damage. Combined with the provoke, we're talking about 110% lightning damage only done by the arcs. Hammers by themselves are going to deal a very sufficient amount of damage. Let's talk about the passives. So as I mentioned, I don't have Indestructible. I definitely recommend to have it on your Hellfire Amulet, or if you can switch one of these passives probably and go for Indestructible on one of these slots. Fervor. So in Fervor we are going for 15% attack speed primary. The cooldown reduction is just comes supplementary 15% cooldown reduction. Fanatism. So the Fanatism's 15% are actually multiplicative. Justice is going to attack with 15% more, but the thing is that these 15% are going to be added, are going to multiplied on all the attack speed you have collected instead of just being added. Blunt. So most of the damage is going to come out from tossing the Justice, and the Justice spawning the Blessed Hammer. So we're going to use the Blunt here, of course adding 20% of damage to Justice and Blessed Hammer. Finally, this is a very standard skill, a very standard passive, 1.5% more strength, so that boosts up the toughness and sufficiently boosts up the damage, so we're putting Finery in as a passive as well. Right, Kanai powers. So the Kanai powers I'm using currently are Guard of Johanna, Blessed of Ho, and Convention of Elements. Guard of Johanna is just giving 250% damage on every Blessed Hammer that hits its first 3 targets. So it's just too good to pass. It's going to boost up your damage and allow you to clear way faster. Blessed of Ho, mandatory. So basically we're using Witching Hour to gain the benefit of the attack speed, so we still need an armor, the Blessed of Ho belt, to be able to proc the justice to have the justice proccing the blessed hammer out. So we're placing it in. Convention of the elements. So using the convention increases your damage significantly. As soon as you see here this goes into lightning, you're just going to clear waves of mobs. The thing with the convention is that it can be switched to a let's say a unity. Unity will definitely help with the toughness problem I currently experience, but I found that these 200% are exceptionally good and cannot be just passed away. Having them, having these 200% on top of focus and restraint just ensures a very good and a very high damage capacity. So that's the Kanai powers. Right. Let's see here. What we have covered, I believe, most of the things: Paragon Points, gems. The gems I'm using here, as I mentioned, I'm not using the cooldown reduction, so we went for life. Strength gems in the chest, resist gems in the pants. So this is pretty much how the build is being oriented. Its main concept is to spawn blessed hammers as fast as possible. One of the things I actually was thinking is to place in a Ring of Rogue Grandeur and just go for an Andario's Visage, having extra lightning as an affix and having them let's say 6 or 7% more attack speed would have been very beneficial. Up until this point, however, I haven't found an Andario that can be useful to my ends. So let me know what you think about the build. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you find a way to easier play it, a way to easier implement it, what you think about it. In general, I make builds because I want to have fun in the game. Of course, I would like the builds to be optimized and be able to push greater rifts, but for me it's just first fun, then let's say progress. So let me know on the part of progress, because I find it to be exceptionally fun to play. On the part of progress, how you would, what you would think that would put this build one step ahead and put the Crusaders higher in the leaderboard. Alright, thank you for watching. Have fun.